Morning, everybody. Donald Trump Jr. and the Trump team now moving quickly to shoot down the story about a meeting between top members of the Trump team and a Russian lawyer. Happened about a year ago. Donald Trump Jr. just tweeting a short time ago, obviously, I'm the first person on the campaign to ever take a meeting to hear info about an opponent. Went nowhere but had to listen. That's what he said in his tweet. In fact, he fired another one off a moment ago. Senior counsel to the president, Kellyanne Conway, said this a bit earlier today on Fox and Friends.
Don has said very clearly that the meeting was taken. He didn't know the name of the person who was coming. He certainly knew the person who set it up. He says it was vague, it was ambiguous, it was very obvious almost immediately that there was no helpful or meaningful information, and that the meeting quickly turned over to the matter of Russian adoption, which was probably the pretext for the entire meeting from the beginning. No information was gained, no action was taken, no follow-up whatsoever.
Brit Hume is a Fox News senior political analyst. All right, Brit. Interesting, because it will never stop. When the word Russia is involved, the New York Times is going to be involved. We've had many explanations now from several people connected to this meeting, the lawyer involved, Donald Trump Jr., the president's legal team. What do you make of where we stand now?
Well, this is one of these stories that seem to come along with some regularity now. They get huge play. I mean, this story is the lead story in the New York Times. It was the lead story, at least in the edition I saw of the Wall Street Journal. It's plastered on the front page of the Washington Post. There's considerable discussion about it on cable news. And I'd have to say this appears to be, once again, much ado about not much. This meeting was apparently a fiasco. Donald Trump agreed to meet with this person whose identity he says he didn't even know. Yeah, Donald Trump Jr., excuse me. And because apparently there was information claimed about Hillary Clinton that could be useful to the Trump campaign. It turned out that he'd been conned. What this Russian lawyer wanted to talk about was this question of Russian adoption, about which he pointed out, did young Trump, that he or his father couldn't do anything about it because he was still a private citizen, was the father, and the meeting went nowhere and ended with nothing happening, and apparently nothing ever came of it. This is one more case where we have evidence of a contact of some kind with somebody connected to Russia, but no evidence of collusion.
All right. The New York Post, in a piece in part, sums it up this way, said, no campaign in its right mind would turn down information on their opponent. That is what opposition research is all about. You can bet Hillary would not have hung up on the person who claimed to have dirt on the Donald. So is this just the way campaigns work, Brett?
Well, sure, there's a lot of opposition research. It's not the most attractive or prettiest part of our campaign life, but it is very much a fact of our campaign life. Everybody does this. And who knows, sometimes something is revealed that's really important that ought to be in part of the campaign. So, I would feel differently about this if, first of all, the connections of this woman, this lawyer in Russia, apparently a prominent lawyer representing some large interests over there. She's said to have connections to the Kremlin. Well, it's pretty hard to represent large interests in a nation where many large interests are owned by the state without having some alleged ties to the Russian government. There's no indication she was acting here as some kind of an espionage agent or political agent on behalf of Vladimir Putin or the Kremlin. So what this appears to be is an attempt by somebody to make some headway with the Trump campaign on an issue, adoption, that she had reason to care about, which, when you get down to it, hardly suggests improper behavior even on her part, and certainly not on the Trump campaign's part.
Yeah, and apparently she said in a statement that there was nothing discussed about the presidential campaign, that she never acted on behalf of the Russian government, never discussed any of these matters with any representative of the Russian government. But for a lot of people, all of these explanations that we have now from all sides, it's not going to quiet things down. In fact, the New York Times tweeted, in less than 24 hours, Donald Trump Jr. gave 2 different explanations about why he met with her. Well, now he has tweeted saying there's no inconsistency in the statements. Meeting ended up being primarily about adoptions. In response to further questions, I simply provided more details. Will that quiet the story, Brett?
Well, probably not. But, but Shannon, put yourself in the position of a reader or viewer at home hearing about this story and thinking, oh boy, this might be really something. And come to find out, and this is undisputed, that the meeting was largely about adoption, Russian adoption, which is certainly an innocent purpose, and that it looks like a bait and switch on the information about Hillary Clinton because apparently none was provided. So you look at that and you think, what's all the fuss about? And that's The media can go on and on about this and trumpet it and pretend that it's evidence of collusion. But when you think about it, and any reasonable person looks at it,